Okay, so I have a problem with my shower. And with this little problem with the shower, I don't know exactly how I could fix it without making something custom. So today I'm going to try to make my first actual video where I make a or STL part, a solid part for 3D printing. Now, I've been doing a lot of 3D printing and stuff for things like this in the past, but in this particular setting, I never have actually filmed one. First thing I want to do is go ahead and create a sketch. And I think I'm going to create a sketch from the top down. So I'm clicking on the top up here and going to select the top plane. Now, my general style here is maybe a little bit more consultative and teaching. That's the type of videos we normally make on my other channel, Virtualize Everything. So it's kind of the way I'm used to doing things here. We'll see how well it works. Now, I know the exterior diameter of my pipe is going to be 0.630. We're going to type 0.630 and then we're going to put an IN after it because my sheet's actually set up in metric, but all my measuring tools are in inches. So I can leave everything in metric where it kind of works for my 3D printer, but put my dimensions in as inches and they'll automatically be converted. Now, 630 should be an interference fit on the pipe. My 3D printer's accuracy, I would say, isn't going to be, dead nuts either. So let's go ahead. I'm going to add another 10 thousandths of an inch. So let's change that to 640. And yes, if you're watching this and you're not a machinist or not in the machine tool industry, we kind of speak about decimals a little bit different. So 0.001 is going to be 1,000ths or 1 mil to other people. And then the next decimal place will be 10 thousandths, and the next decimal place forward will be 100 thousandths as we talk. So just bear with me. Don't crucify me in the comments. That's the industry I've been in, and that's how I know how to speak. So we're going to drop that in, and you can see that it automatically converted that to metric here. Now, we're going to need to create another body here, and I'm just going to grab my circle tool, and some of this I can wing. I can also take my bathroom spout and I can use my calipers to go across it, and I can measure the diameter if I wanted to, and I get 2.5 inches if I measure the diameter. So I know I need to be under 2.5 inches, but definitely greater than the 640 thousandths that we designed the part to be. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it in here with what looks good. I want to try to leave a good amount of material, and maybe I'll even type in 2.5 inches and see where that's at. Definitely think that that's way too much, so we can try 1.5. Yeah, that probably looks like a good amount, and it's a good round number. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this in here, and then we're going to go up to solids, and we're going to go to extrude, and we're going to select our part. Now, the height I want to put on this part, it needs to be less than 200 thousandths. So 125 thousandths is 1/8 of an inch. 250 thousandths is 1/4 of an inch. I think I'm going to go about 150 here. So I'm going to just enter 0.15, IN again, and I'll press enter. Now, if I hold the shift key and use the third mouse button, I can kind of rotate on this and take a look at this collar and see what I have. Now, this is all of the room that I have to work. So I'm going to be kind of confined by the fastener type I choose as far as the strength that it can provide. So the hope is here this part will go over the pipe, be able to be split, clamped down on the pipe, and fasten the pipe to the wall in a way that my spout can be installed and then caulked around. And all of that whole combination will hold everything together and everything will work as it's meant to be. So I'm going to go back up to the top orientation here of this part, and I'm going to hit create sketch again, and I can just go ahead and pick the top frame. It's not going to super matter here, and I can go ahead and zoom in. Now I think what I'm going to do is draw a construction line just out straight, and then I'm going to draw up, and I think I want to split this by, I think 3 something is eighth of an inch. So let's go ahead. We could of course always decide that we wanted to split this by using inches, and I probably should. So let's go 100 thousandths. Seems a lot. Let's go, because we only left 10 thousandths of split here, or dimension over the pipe diameter. So we don't need a large split. I'm thinking, due to making it stronger and strength and stuff, I'm thinking I'm just going to do 50 thousandths. So I'm going to put 0.25 here for this vertical construction line, and of course call it inches. Now, I forgot to add an extra 0 here. So I put 250 thousandths, which we again decided was 1/4 of an inch, and I wanted 25 thousandths. So here I just clicked on the arrows and I'm able to adjust it, and that's our construction line. And I can go back to my line tool now, and I can draw all the way through it down, making sure that I enter 0.05 and putting inches in, which will come over my splitting line or my construction line that I half put in there very fast. And I'm just drawing a line all the way out, hitting escape, and then I'm just going to put L again for line, and I'm going to draw a line down past this and press escape again. So now that construction line that I created, as I'm calling it, can just be deleted, and I can use the delete keyboard. Now I can use this trim tool, and I can just go ahead and remove it, and I get a nice little box. Going back to solid and extrude, I can select that box, and I'm actually going to select all 3 elements because our solid model is going to make a separate element. And then I'm going to use shift to kind of rotate down and look, and it wants to extrude from that top face. I want to cut, so I'll just take my arrow and I'll pull it down, and I don't have to be super particular or careful here as far as size. I can just pull it all the way down through the point, and I can press OK. This is going to kind of split that part, and if we look at the top and zoom out, we can see that the part now has a split. Now the question is going to be to choose a fastener of some sort to go ahead and take and split this part. And I probably could just really zip tie this. I don't even really need a screw. So I'm probably gonna have to go check my zip tie collection to see what I have for the smallest zip tie. So I'll probably pause the video here in a minute and go on, but I think I can do this next step. It's kind of dangerous, but I think I can do it. So let's go ahead, create our next sketch here. And if you notice, they're all being added down bottom here. And I'm gonna go ahead and use a 2-point rectangle, and I'm gonna kind of select out here, and I'm just gonna pull it all in. Now, I'm kind of just using my eye and kind of like my intuition to look at this. And I can only go in, if I go in this far, you can see the box will leave an odd dimension up in this area, which doesn't work. So what I have to do is I can't go in any further than this point from that point I picked, but I want to leave a good amount of material here. I think this plastic is going to flex, hopefully fairly well. And I could actually like take some material out in the back here if I needed to make it flex more. But for my first iteration, let's go ahead and just leave a decent amount of material for my zip tie to grab onto. This is only going to hold until my spout's in place. And once my spout's in place, then I won't really have to worry about this, and it's going to be buried. So even looks isn't a big deal. So I'm going to make a square there, and I'll go ahead and just hit escape and exit that. And I should have a mirror feature, and I want to select my object. So I'll go ahead and select all 4 lines, and then I need to select a line, and I don't have anything, so let's cancel out. And we'll just go ahead, press L. We'll draw a nice construction line in here again. And sadly, they're not called construction lines inside of Fusion 360, but we can just use standard lines and go with that. Now we'll pull up our mirror tool after we selected our square, and we'll select our mirror line. And you can see it gives us a nice box, but I'm also seeing that I now have 8 selected instead of 4, so I'll hit the X and I'll reselect them, and we have 4. So now I can go ahead, hit OK, and now I'm going to get those 2 boxes. So when we actually take and slice this, it's going to take this material off top and bottom. So again, we'll go solid, we'll go extrude, we'll pick this one, we'll press shift key, and we'll pick the other box. I'll spin it around so I can see what's going on. You don't have to do that. And then I'll pull it up through. If it's blue or gray, it means that you're going to extrude material. If it's red, it means that you're going to cut material. So we'll go ahead and cut this material. We'll press OK. This is going to give me some tabs here, and I know that I'm going to use a zip tie, so although I need some meat to get through here to like hold it, I want a good amount of strength. So I'm going to take a fillet and I'm going to select that line, and then we're going to use shift and the middle button to rotate and select that line. Now we can take this slider, because we're eyeballing stuff, remember, and we can kind of slide this out. And I don't know if I want to slide it all the way out like this. That's a little extreme. But I can kind of slide it there. And then I should be able to use plus and another one. And probably another one right there. And yeah, so I can now kind of blend that shape. Now this is really just going to remove material on this front face and blend it in. I'm hoping that'll create like a stronger type layer line and a little bit more of a natural flowing type feature in here as these flow together. So really no point to generate stress and crack when we zip tie this down and try to flex this feature. Now, as I mentioned before, we know that we're going to need to flex this, and we have the most amount of material in the back of this where we want to flex. So I'm going to take that hole, and I think I can use a line feature, and I can actually put it on. No, it doesn't want to snap down. So what I want to do here is I want to create a line that is tangent, which it looks like I can, to that circle. We can always freehand this for the sake of today, but I'd really like to be able to create that tangent construct. Maybe I'll have to go out and try to figure out how to create that feature here in Fusion 360, but we can go ahead here for the lines today for the sake of what we want to do and do a little bit more eyeballing engineering. And what I'm going to do here is try to actually make a point by hovering my mouse over the center line. Maybe that's how we create a tangent line here. Let's pick a point here in the back of the part here so it'll flex. And now as we come back, let's try that. Let's see if we can pick over top of this circle. And we can't, unfortunately. Maybe it's because I already cut that part out. I'm not sure. But what I can do, and it's going to leave a good portion of this circle too, by not making it tangent. If I made it tangent, it's going to pull it backwards into the V, but by not making it tangent, it's going to use the whole circle as the surface content and just use this V as more of a hinge pivot. I think it'll actually work well. So we'll just go ahead. We're going to again create that circle. We can come back and modify this. This is the beauty of 3D printing here. So we'll finish this part out here and we'll just take that and we'll once again chop this material out, press OK, and hack this away. Now I'm going to go ahead, pause this video here, and see if I can go look at what I got for a zip tie material. Okay, so all I had in stock were about 180 thick or wide, so that hole is going to be the same size as the thickness of our part here. It's not going to work, but kind of using my eyeball and my memory, and it's the theme of this part definitely, I'm going to go ahead and think that they're probably about 80. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select not a corner view, but a front view, and go ahead and create another sketch here and bring this part up. And I can do this in a few different ways. I can use some construction lines to set center or pick a distance off and look, and it looks like we're about 3.810 millimeters. So I can actually just go ahead and drop a line here, not click on it, backspace it, and we can go ahead and just bring the line in, and we said it was 3.81, and then I can hit this slash and divide it by 2. This will tell us our center, and then I can pick how far in I want to put this hole, and I said it was about 80 thousandths, and I probably want some material here, so let's go 0.08 divided by 2 and then enter IN. Back this out here. We're just going to hit escape again and try this again. Select the point, we'll drag a line, we'll say 0.08, which is 80 thousandths. We'll divide that by 2. Then we're going to tell it we want to be in inches, and it can't do all that math. That's fine. What we can do is set our line. We can say 0.08, and then we'll say IN. That's going to give us our transition into metric, and it's 2.032. And I think I can pick, so that's the center point of our line. Now, if I selected that with a circle and came out here, you can see we're all the way out at the edge of our part. That's not going to be what I want to do. But this kind of gives me a reference line for eyeballing this, and I think I want to be probably the diameter of that hole back, or half the diameter, the radius of the hole back. So let's go 2.032 divided by 2, and that hole is actually pretty small here, 2.032. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm almost tempted. What does 3 millimeters look like? It's pretty big. It leaves not a lot of material. Let's see, 2.5. Yeah, that's probably good. So we'll call this 2.5. And the awesome thing with Fusion 360 is we can kind of leave our construction lines here, but we can go back to solid extrude. Of course, we're going to select our circle. I'm going to use shift again to rotate this to see where it is. I want to go all the way through, and then I'm going to set 2 sides. So now we can again go all the way through here, and it's a perfect, nice mirror image. Okay, so now that we got the hole in there, it's time to export this for the first time. And I haven't done this for a long time as far as exporting an STL from Fusion 360. So let's see if I can fumble my way through it. First thing is I think I need to save this, and I'll just save it as shower part. We can go ahead and save the part, and then I believe I'm able export the part. I think I have to select the whole part. I'm not sure. So file and then export, and then I should be able to change the type to something that my 3D printer will work with, and STL's my desired part, so I can do that, and then I can press export. Now I get a part that I can try to set up and 3D print. Okay, so now I'm going to finish this video off with a little 360-degree tour of the part that was 3D printed.